And good morning from Topsham, here on the banks of the River Exe, on the Exe estuary, and the tide's a little out this morning. So I'm at home today in Topsham, and today's going to be a bit of a Great Western day. I've got myself booked first class from Exeter to Penzance, and we're going to be running right along there in about an hour, all the way down and through and on to Penzance, one of the most beautiful train rides that you can get in the UK, and as you can see, it's a perfect day for it. So I'm really looking forward to it. And after that, well, more fun. I'm going to have 2 days on Great Western, and I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, let's see how it goes. This old path runs directly from the riverside up through Topsham to the railway, and makes for a very pleasant walk on such a sunny morning. In common with many Devon towns, there's no shortage of these narrow streets in Topsham. And we pop out by the railway on Holman Way, which now uses the old branch line that used to run down to Topsham Quay. And here we are passing my favourite street name, the Shrubbery, which is just down there, look. The London and South Western Railway brought trains to Topsham in 1861, although the station house is dated 1860. Now it serves around 220,000 passengers a year. Over on the down line is the topiary that's been a feature of the station, well, certainly for the whole 20 odd years I've lived here. Whilst this is the Exeter to Exmouth branch line, most trains actually operate a half-hourly service right round the Exe estuary between Exmouth and Paignton. The Exmouth branch is single track, and so Topsham acts as a midpoint passing place. And here's our Class 166 working in from Exmouth. We'll just have a few intermediate station stops before we swing into the city of Exeter. In 1860, Exeter Central, or Exeter Queen Street as it was known then, was the terminus for services from London Waterloo. Up at road level, the station buildings were rebuilt in 1933 and are a wonderful example of 1930s architecture. We will be exiting the station on the steep link line to St David's Station, which was not opened until 1862. So our Class 166 will reverse here and then continue on its way southwest to Paignton. Well, I've got just 10 minutes to wait before I too continue into the deep southwest. So, while we wait, let's have a look at the route down to Penzance. We'll head out today down the Exe estuary before running along the coast to Teignmouth. Then we'll be up the Teign estuary to Newton Abbot. From there we'll climb through the beautiful Devon countryside just below Dartmoor before coming into Plymouth, where we'll cross Brunel's famous bridge at Saltash into Cornwall. Then it's a leisurely trundle through the Cornish countryside with stops at St Germans, Liskeard, Bodmin Park Way, Lostwithiel, St Austell and Truro. Then we'll go through the old tin mining heartlands of Redruth and Camborne before a brief view of the northern coast at Hale, and then a short stop at St Erth for passengers for St Ives, and then we'll cross to the other side of the Penwith Peninsula for the final run into Penzance. The trip is scheduled to complete the 211 kilometres, or 131 miles, in 2 hours and 55 minutes, which is a pretty leisurely average of just 72.2 kilometres per hour or 44.9 miles per hour. It's worth noting that this 0600 departure from London completed the first leg to Exeter at 113.5 kilometres per hour or 72.2 miles per hour, showing just how much line speeds will deteriorate when you get west of Exeter. And here's our train rolling into the platform spot on time at 08:42. And it's one of GWR's Class 802 bi-mode, electric and diesel, multiple units. These were built by Hitachi on their A-train platform and have been in service since 2018. Right, I'm going first class today and my seat is at this London end of the train. And here we are with the seats in a 2+1 configuration with a very nice mix of table and airline style seating. The seat is a nice single airline one, but there's no way I'm going to sit on that side of the train for this journey. And I'm pleased to say there's almost nobody in the carriage, so I will have my pick of whichever seat I like. And we're away from the station and crossing the River Exe. And it's not long before we get to Turf Locks, where the train aligns with the estuary. Now, I've shared the stretchered line from here to Dawlish before, but on a day like today, I think it bears repeating. Starcross Station is where you can get the summer-only ferry right across to Exmouth. That'd be a great ride on a day like today. And as we get to Dawlish Warren, it marks the change from estuary to sea views as we round the famous curve where so many trains have been photographed. And is also where we pass our old Class 166 on its stopping service. If you'd like a closer look along here, then do check out my ride out walk back video where I walk the Dawlish sea wall. The station at Dawlish is now wrapped in the concrete of new sea defences, which are now coming to the end of their years-long construction. This section of the line affords us one last look at the sea and a fleeting glimpse of Teignmouth's beaches before we swing inland for Newton Abbot. But inland does not mean the end of watery views as we now run up the Teign Valley. And there's just time to hop to the other side of the train to have a quick look at Newton Abbot Racecourse. That's not a great seat, is it? I'll stay on this side for a bit, as soon we'll be climbing, if not into, then very close to Dartmoor. And the engines really hum now as the train labours up quite a steep incline out of Newton Abbot. At Totnes, before we cross the Dart, we get a little look at the South Devon Railways station. And the old signal box at Totnes is now a rather nice cafe. And beyond Totnes, we begin to skirt the rising land that is Dartmoor National Park. Below the railway line, the town of Ivybridge nestles in the valley of the River Erm. And we get a chance to run alongside the Plym for a while before we turn westwards at Lara Depot for the station. I know I've said before on this channel that Plymouth is one of my least favourite stations. I think the best you can say is that it's utilitarian. Sorry, Plymouth. Although just as you're leaving, you do get a great view of Richard Deacon's wonderful piece of art. Plymouth's military history has left a huge stamp on the waterfront, with the Royal Navy still a huge presence in the city, both with dockyards and sports facilities. And then slowly we creep onto Brunel's Grade 1 listed Royal Albert Bridge, which was completed in 1859, just a few months before his death. Surely one of the wonders of the railway world. The single-track bridge has a ruling speed limit of just 15 miles per hour, although as all eyes lift up from laptops, books and phones to enjoy the view, I doubt there's any passengers that would ever want this section speeded up. The view downstream of the River Tamar from our vantage point 100 feet above is just mesmerising. The unique venticular design of the two 455-foot spans gives the bridge its iconic look, which we can enjoy as the train sweeps around the western approach curve. And beyond Saltash we cross some more epic viaducts, which would all be more well known if it were not for the crossing at Saltash. Right, let's take this moment to look at the accommodation. Legroom in these first-class airline seats is excellent, as you'd expect, and even airline style gets a fixed table. Under all the armrests is a 3-pin plug and a USB supply. And the seat also comes with a generous and adjustable recline. And up top, there's a good blind and some coat hooks. And the seats themselves, well, whilst not stunning, they're perfectly adequate and comfortable for a first-class product. And I do like the GWR grey moquette, which is nicely picked out with a GWR green head cushion, which you can adjust up and down as preferred. And there it is, not bad at all. To be honest though, YouTubers can get an awful lot of use from those power supplies. Although conversely, when the refreshment trolley arrives, the first class tea and biscuits feels like a fairly Spartan choice. But still, just look out the window and the view is always first class. And as we approach Liskeard, the line to Loo passes under us before it swings around to terminate at the very quaint Platform 3. And of course, now we're in Cornwall, there's even less chance of anything approaching fast running. Bodmin Parkway is about 4 miles out of town. However, the Bodmin Railway does operate from here into Bodmin if you time it right and you fancy a ride on a steam train.
We are now approaching Lost William.
With the second tea service, things got a lot better on the snack front. I happened to mention I was going walking in Penwith with a friend, and the kind steward said, "Oh, well, you'll need a few snacks for that then." The approach to Truro along the Truro Viaduct is all about the Gothic revivalist Truro Cathedral, which was completed as recently as 1910. As we leave the station, on the left is the bay platform for the branch line to Falmouth, the line for which soon peels off southbound. And the site of our first abandoned tin workings is very apt as we get to Redruth. And just beyond Redruth is Carnbrae Castle and the Bassett Monument, although it doesn't seem to be shaped like Bertie at all. So as we quickly tick off our last 2 station stops, let's pause to consider what I paid for this. Well, my first class advance single from Exeter to Penzance, bought 3 weeks in advance, cost me £28.70 or €33.50. Considering the distance and the comfort and the scenic nature of the journey, I think that's very reasonable, although you may not agree if you don't have a rail card. All that's left now is for the train to track along the water's edge at Long Rock Beach before our final arrival into Penzance. And as we gobble up our last sea view of the trip, we've arrived into Penzance spot on time at 11:40. And welcome to Penzance, and over there I can see St Michael's Mount. It's absolutely beautiful here today, and as for a train ride, I think you can agree, having seen it too, what an absolutely stunning train ride it is from Exeter to Penzance. Almost no parts of the journey are, you know, wasted bits where you can't stare out the window and see something absolutely marvellous. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, then give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel, as I release a video every Friday and the odd little ride out walk back kind of thing on a Monday. So yeah, if you subscribe then you won't miss one. But in the meantime, I'm just going to say goodbye, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the likes, all the comments, and of course all the views. It really means the world to me, and thank you all very much indeed, and I'll see you next time.